focused sales approach, the CFSA.
Exactly, CFSA.
They talk about the CFSA
And
cycle.
our mission.
3 stages: strategic planning, tailored execution, and evaluation.
A continuous
Options.
cycle. So
Okay,
just
let's
having
start
a
with
good
strategic.
product isn't automatically enough anymore.
Precisely. And that ties right into the second point. Customer expectations have changed. Doctors, in this case.
Welcome. Today, it's a look inside Pfizer and how they connect with customers.
That's right. We're looking specifically at their customer-focused sales approach, the CFSA.
Exactly, CFSA. And our mission here is to sort of unpack why they felt this big strategic change was needed and, what it actually involves.
We even have their internal handout, that CFSA handout.pdf. Gives a pretty detailed view.
Yeah, it does. So we'll look at the reasons for the shift, the core ideas of CFSA, and then how it works in practice, right?
Exactly. It's a fascinating look at how a big company adapts. I think you'll find it really relevant given your interest here.
Okay, let's start with the why. Why evolve? The handout's workshop objective section makes it pretty clear this wasn't just optional.
No, not at all. The materials point to some big shifts. A major one is just, making your product stand out got a lot harder.
More competition, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like the old days where maybe you had the breakthrough drug. Now there are often several good options.
So just having a good product isn't automatically enough anymore.
Precisely. And that ties right into the second point. Customer expectations have changed. Doctors, in this case.
Ah, right. They have more choices, more info.
They do. They're not just waiting for info. They're looking for real solutions. The handout actually calls it a customer revolution. That tells you something about the power shift.
A customer revolution. Wow. What does that mean for a doctor day to day?
Well, think about their pressures. Patient loads, paperwork, staying current. It's intense. The handout mentions this, references a 2007 survey even. It found doctors really value reps who bring relevant solutions, who actually understand their practice. Time is precious.
Right. No time for a generic pitch that doesn't solve their problems. It needs to be tailored, useful.
Exactly.
So this shift from focusing mainly on the product to focusing on the customer, what does that change in the actual conversation?
Well, the old way might be just presenting the core messages, the key features and benefits of the drug.
Standard stuff.
Right. But CFSA demands more. It's about delivering customized info, resources that genuinely match that doctor's specific needs and their patients.
So it's less about pushing the drug and more about understanding the doctor's challenges first, then showing how Pfizer can help with those challenges.
You got it. The big strategic goal is moving from transactional chats, quick product talks, to real relational interactions.
Relational.
Yeah. Becoming a trusted partner. That's the phrase they use. Not just an outsider or a friend or even just an expert. Something deeper.
Trusted partner. That's a big step up from a sales call. How do they build that trust?
A key idea is finding a shared agenda. Recognizing that the doctor has goals, best patient care, efficient practice, and finding where Pfizer's goals overlap with those.
So it's not just about Pfizer's targets. It's finding the win-win.
Exactly. It has to benefit both sides.
Okay, so that's the why. Let's get into the what.
Yeah.
What are the core pieces of this CFSA?
Well, the handout talks about their business model. It suggests a move away from maybe relying purely on product leadership, having the newest, best drug,
Right.
towards customer-centric intimacy. And they define that pretty simply, delivering what specific customers want.
That is a big reorientation, leading with the customer need, not just the product innovation.
It really is. And to help their people think that way, they introduce something called third box thinking.
Third box thinking. Okay, what's that?
It pushes them to look beyond just Pfizer and the doctor. It means considering the doctor's customer.
The patient.
Right, the patient. What's the value for them? What are their concerns? What are they looking for? And then how does what Pfizer offers actually fit into that whole picture?
Wow, so it's like a chain. Pfizer helps the doctor, who then helps the patient. You have to understand the whole chain.
Exactly. It shows a kind of strategic maturity, doesn't it? Not just selling pills, but understanding the whole patient journey.
Yeah.
That's more sustainable.
Definitely. So how does a rep actually do that? How do they apply this?
That's where their value creation thought framework comes in. It's a structure. Think. Them, US, and fit.
Them, US fit.
Them is digging deep into the customer. Priorities, challenges, what matters to their practice, their patients.
Right. Understanding their world.
US is knowing Pfizer's strengths, The science, the data, the resources, the support programs they have.
Okay, internal capabilities.
And fit is the connection. How does US directly help with them? How does Pfizer actually make a positive impact on what the customer cares about?
Actively making that link clear, not assuming the doctor will figure it out.
Precisely. And underlying all this, it's a mindset change. They say it explicitly, moving from just thinking about the product and hitting numbers.
To thinking about the customer and the results they can help achieve.
Exactly. Customer results orientation.
So success isn't just sales figures, but maybe improved patient outcomes, which helps the doctor, which then helps Pfizer long term.
That's the idea, the goal they're aiming for. Okay, so how does this play out in practice? They talk about the CFSA cycle, 3 stages: strategic planning, tailored execution, and evaluation.
A continuous cycle. Okay, let's start with strategic planning. What's involved there in this customer-focused way?
It's definitely more involved than just planning a sales pitch. It starts with looking at 2 things together: Pfizer's own business goals, and that specific doctors practice their potential regarding Pfizer's products.
So they're assessing the value and priority, not treating every doctor exactly the same.
That's right. It's about strategic alignment. Where does it make most sense to focus effort? Then the next big step is understanding the customer's needs, specifically as they relate to Pfizer brands.
How do they figure that out?
They use available reports, data, other info sources. But crucially, it involves planning the questions they'll ask the doctor. Strategic questions.
What kind of things are they trying to uncover with these questions?
They want the why. Why does this doctor prescribe this drug versus that one? What types of patients do they see most? What's their approach to educating patients? What factors matter most in their decisions? Efficacy, cost, side effects, ease of use. How do they handle adherence? Even how they like to communicate.
Wow, that's a lot of detail for every doctor.
It is. It implies some sophisticated background work and training for sure. And the planning doesn't stop there.
Okay.
They also identify what info they still need and plan how to get it. Maybe asking more targeted questions, maybe even talking to other staff in the office, like nurses or practice managers carefully, of course.
So the total office call idea might start here, in planning, thinking about who else has insights.
Could be. It's about getting a full picture. Once they feel they have that understanding, the next step is setting objectives. Long-term and incremental ones.
And they need to be smart objectives, right? Specific, measurable.
Actionable, realistic, timed, yes. And key point, they have to meet both the customer's needs and Pfizer's goals.
Can you give an example? Long-term versus incremental.
Sure. A long-term one might be, have product X become the preferred first-line option for condition Y in Dr. Smith's practice by year-end.
Oh, ambitious.
An incremental one, a step towards that, could be gain Dr. Smith's agreement in the next call to review the key study comparing X to competitor Z and schedule a follow-up.
Got it. Smaller, actionable steps leading to the bigger goal. And the last part of planning.
Customizing the solution. Taking all that understanding and planning and then tailoring the actual, offering the key messages, the resources to fit that doctor's needs while still aligning with Pfizer's strategy.
So deciding which clinical data point or which patient leaflet or which speaker program invitation is most relevant and impactful for this specific doctor.
Exactly. It's about picking the right tools from Pfizer's toolkit data, product info, programs, patient materials to deliver real value.
Creating that win-win-win.
Yeah.
Patient, physician, Pfizer.
That's the aim. So once that solid planning is done, they move to stage 2, tailored execution.
And the handout says good execution depends heavily on good planning.
Absolutely. If the planning wasn't thorough, the actual call is likely to fall flat.
Makes sense. So what are the key parts of tailored execution?
First up is engaging the customer, making a strong start to the call, getting their attention immediately, showing relevance.
How do they suggest doing that?
They say use impactful openings, maybe concise declarations rather than vague questions, referencing something from a previous call, sharing something new and relevant right away, basically signal value quickly.
Respect their time.
Exactly. And they give examples of weak openings too, like just want to talk about product X or how are things too generic.
Needs to be sharp, focused, and maintaining engagement is key too.
Absolutely. Keep it a two-way street, a real dialogue. Adapt your style. Keep the focus on what matters to them.
Okay, engagement first, then what?
Then it's gaining insights through strategic questioning. We talked about planning the questions. Now it's about asking them effectively during the call.
The situation needs attitude questions.
Right. Situation questions for context. Needs questions to uncover problems or unmet needs. Attitude questions to understand their thinking, their values, their motivations. It's about finding the whys behind their choices.
Not just what they prescribe, but why they prescribe it.
Precisely. And it's not just asking. Effective listening is huge here. Really hearing the answers, noticing nonverbal cues, showing you understand by summarizing or clarifying.
So ask, provide info maybe, listen hard, show you got it.
Exactly. It's an active exchange, which then leads directly to the next part, offering customized solutions.
Using those insights you just gained.
Right. Presenting solutions, maybe patient resources, cost info, specific clinical data that directly address the needs and attitudes you uncovered.
And the clinical data, it's not just dumping stats, is it?
No. The handout stresses presenting it clearly. Focus on study design, endpoints, but most importantly, how it's relevant to their patients, their practice.
Making it practical.
Yeah, and translating product features into real value for the physician and patient. They also mentioned that total office call idea, again here, maybe engaging the whole team.
Being a resource for the whole practice.
Okay.
After offering solutions.
Next is gaining commitment. And they make a distinction here.
Between what?
Between just getting agreement, like, yes, that sounds interesting, and getting actual commitment.
Commitment means they'll do something.
Exactly. Agreeing to take a specific, actionable step. Something that moves things forward towards the call objective. Like trying the product with the next suitable patient, or reviewing that study you discussed.
So asking for a concrete next step.
Yes. And the final piece of execution is addressing concerns. Because, doctors will have questions, objections.
Of course.
So there's a process. Listen fully. Clarify to make sure you understand the concern. Show empathy, then present proof or data to address it. Check if you have addressed it, and then maybe ask for commitment again.
So you don't push past concerns.
Right. They list types of concerns too.
Yeah.
Misunderstandings, skepticism, real worries, even just indifference. Each might need a slightly different response.
And they mentioned fair balance.
Yes. Being upfront about potential downsides or limitations too is part of building that trust, being transparent.
Makes sense. Okay, so that covers planning and execution. What's the last stage?
The last stage is evaluation. Reflecting after the call to improve next time.
Crucial for getting better. What's involved?
3 things. First, assessing success. How did the call actually go? Did it have an impact? Did you meet your objectives? Honestly judging the outcome.
Okay.
Second, coaching yourself. Reflecting on what you did well, what you could have done better. Asking yourself specific questions. Did the conversation flow? Did I handle that objection effectively? Were there surprises?
Like a personal debrief.
Exactly. And third, sharing learnings. Taking what you learned, good and bad, and sharing it with colleagues, following Pfizer's rules, of course, building collective knowledge.
So the whole team benefits from individual experiences.
That's the idea. It's all about continuous improvement of this customer-focused approach, refining how they meet doctors' needs while also hitting Pfizer's goals.
So, summing this all up, Pfizer's CFSA seems like a really fundamental shift. It's moving way beyond just product promotion.
It really is.
It's about deeply understanding you, the physician, your needs, your patient's needs, and building a partnership based on providing real, tailored value and solutions.
That's the heart of it. It's an adaptation to a tougher market, changing expectations. By focusing intensely on individual needs and tailoring everything, they want to be seen as more than just a drug company. They want to be that trusted partner in patient care.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? This whole customer-centric idea, really digging into needs, providing tailored value. We've talked about it with Pfizer, but it applies so much more broadly.
Oh, absolutely.
It makes you wonder, in our own work, whatever field we're in, could we apply more of that third box thinking? Really understand not just our immediate client or customer, but their end goals, their customers.
It's a powerful concept, truly understanding the challenges of the people you serve.
Definitely food for thought. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. Thanks for breaking it all down with me.